Today we're going to be talking about some really interesting findings from our latest commission report, so let's get into it. I think the first thing is that we're noticing some really interesting trends when it comes to online consumer behavior. Hit us with some of the most fascinating trends that you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really interesting is that we see people intentionally leaning into online shopping right now. So in the context of a world where people are re-examining their digital behaviors and leaning out of doom scrolling and bad social media behaviors, where they're actually leaning in is online shopping. So for example, we see 70% of consumers, Gen Z and millennials, wanting to shop and looking forward to shopping online. And they also, 80% actively are interested in that online search. So like finding that perfect thing, the highest quality thing. And so what I think is really interesting about that is online shopping is becoming this kind of positive escape valve for a world that's very challenging. This is where people are headed. And they're headed there because it feels good, like it's entertaining, but it also feels like they're getting something out of it and it's not draining the way doom scrolling is.
So that's interesting because online shopping, I think for a long time, retailers thought, what do you do after the checkout moment? I mean, that's, you lose the person and there's no more engagement. But I think you've also noticed some things about checkout that are worth sharing.
So this is my favorite part of the research, Michael, because I think to your point, like checkout has always been this point where people get lost, but actually we find this new, what we coined JOCO, so the joy of checking out, where we see 73% of consumers say the moment of checkout delivers them joy. And we see that across the shopping experience, where people are the most excited is the confirmation page. So what that's telling us is that there's an intense amount of joy when people get to experience and buy what they actually want to buy. And that confirmation page is that exciting part because you feel like this dopamine hit, like you've actually accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, or you've like booked that vacation. It feels good, right?
Yes, I can confirm.
Yeah. We also see another 52% of consumers who say across the shopping experience, the most exciting part is the confirmation page. We saw 4 in 10 consumers actually will shop again at brands that make a joyful checkout experience. So it's not just a one-time moment for brands of this point of joy, it's actually creating long-term loyalty when you create joy at that checkout moment. And the other thing that was fascinating that we saw is 89% of consumers experience a lot of desire when they're purchasing those long-term items that they've been wanting to buy forever. So it's worth leaning into those moments as well.
So of course, it wouldn't be 2025 if we weren't talking about AI. Tell me, how did that come about in the study?
Yeah, well, what we saw is that 48% of consumers already expect AI being part of their curated shopping experience. And so with those expectations, you have to, as a business, lean into what consumers want at this moment. So what we're already seeing in the research is they want relevancy and hyper-personalization, but AI can deliver on that. And the expectations around AI is that it should deliver on that. And so those are going to ramp up over time for the consumer's shopping expectations. Something that's really interesting is that 79% of consumers are excited about receiving a well-timed, relevant offer. And on the other hand, the flip side is 62% will abandon their cart if they receive an irrelevant offer. So there's a lot of positivity and a lot of upside if you can deliver on that relevancy, but there's a lot of risk if you deliver something that's irrelevant.
Well, Libby, this has been a great conversation. I just really want to thank you again for joining us and sharing all that insight.
It's been fantastic. It's so nice to talk with you, Michael.